Okay, so it's story time. So I went to this retail store earlier and got into this conversation with the sales girls there because it reminded me, as soon as I walked into the door, there was 5 salespersons right there at the door. And back when I sold clothes in Beverly Hills and other places, all the employees were like massive hustlers and really cutthroat, and boy, it was a mess. It was really a mess. People you thought were your friends that you worked with were just like your total enemies. And the worst was when the district men come down, and then they would just be up your booty, and you thought you sold tons, and they were telling you how you did garbage. It was just amazing. But the schmata business is always interesting. So, I have worked for a lot of, big name retailers and some mid name, but mostly corporates. Not too many small independents, but the independents that I did work for were big money. I was very fortunate to know people in California and have friends, and if you walked into a place and you knew somebody, you needed a job, you pretty much didn't even have to fill out an application. It was guaranteed. It was like, you're already hired, just fill this out and we're done. Let me give you your schedule, So, because people knew me, and they knew I was a good person, I was an outrageous salesperson, and people just love me. I just have one of those kind of interesting personalities. It's like, I've told people, if you knew me, I'm the only one like me. I'm a very colorful individual. I'm like a party all by myself. I don't do drugs because I am drugs. I love to make people smile. In a world that cries, I just love to make people smile. So, I'm one of those don't sweat the small stuff and ain't nothing gonna break my stride people. So, anyway, I had to take this job. In California, you go through a lot of jobs. Majority of the reason you go through a lot of jobs as a female is because there's another female that's doing the boss, and she rules. You can be the best at your job. You can, and this is especially in the bar business, you can be the best in your job and show up every day, never call in sick, never be late, have top sales, and the joker that's doing the boss wins, okay? I'm serious. It is horrible in the competitive world of California. But anyway, I got this job. It's one of those things where you don't have a job, you've got to go get a job, so you park the car and you're hoofing it. And you just go to every single door. And do you have a job? I will sweep floors. I will do maintenance. I will be a secretary. I'll be a pull cord receptionist. I'll do key punch. I'll work the cash register, whatever. But one of my first college degrees was fashion design and merchandising at UCLA. I was avid to be, queen of the fashion industry, a designer. I wanted to be in New York. That was my dream. I was going to go to New York to do what I wanted to do because I was into extravagant, elegant designs. New York, they would totally listen to me. That would be the place to be. I went to Pret-a-Porter every year. I was very big on styles and fashion. I was, like a model myself because I wore all the top stuff, very classic. I was just really into it. I mean, I would never be seen without my face on, my hair done, my clothes completely matching, a scratch on my heels, and none of that. I was always to the T, to the T, to the T. And so I had to get a job at a place. I was knocking on doors, you know, over at Villa Marina Shopping Center in Marina del Rey, California. And so I went to go look for jobs there, and there was a clothing store there that was called Jacobson Fashions. And so it was kind of it was a very expensive store, but it was kind of a polyester grandma kind of boater looking kind of clothes. You know, kind of like some of that stuff you used to get in the mail. You know, those catalogs? And you go through the whole catalog, you might see one thing you like. It was just like really kind of beyond conservative clothing. It just didn't have pizzazz, style, sparkle, and shine. It was just kind of conservative leisure, I guess, in polyester. I don't know how to describe it. It was just real dull. But, you know, they made their own clothes, and so their own clothes hung in the store. It wasn't like they purchased from other people. They actually had a small factory in Culver City. And they made the stuff there. I mean, they could have got a cheaper deal by having one in downtown LA, because that was the heart of the schmata industry. That's where all the sweatshops were. And you could get a really big building really cheap, because there's no one in the world who wanted to live in Los Angeles. That is just garbage. Now, don't get me wrong. LA County covers 3/4 of the state. But the city of Los Angeles is downtown. The place that has all the smog on top. Just look up in the sky. You see the big black cloud? That's downtown LA, right? That's LA, okay? Santa Monica is not LA. Marina del Rey is not LA. Beverly Hills is not LA. And when you get that totally understood, give me a ring. Okay, but anyway, so now Marina del Rey is a very nice area. It's a very expensive area. I lived there twice. Twice in my life I lived in Marina. And so anyway, I was bopping around looking for jobs, and I went into Jacobson's and asked if they were hiring, and they said yes. I filled out an application. I left it there. I was real nice to everybody there, and it was mostly older ladies. Now, I was under 21 when I went there. And yes, I was styling and profiling. I had the whole thing going on. And I knew the fashion business like the back of my hand. You know, I used to hang out with Edith Head and go into the Pret-a-Porter every year, okay? I mean, I really was into this whole thing. I was offered a job at Jag Jeans to be a designer. I turned it down because I didn't want to design jeans. Like, what are you going to do with jeans? There's just so much you can do. Anyway, so I get a call back, and they say that I'm hired as long as I can pass the security clearance and the drug testing. And I said, well, okay then. So they gave me the addresses and all that stuff, and you have to go to downtown LA and take the lie detector test thing, and then you got to go to some other place and go take the drug test thing. And I'd already passed the background check and all that junk. And so I did that. And then in another like week, they called me and said, well, you're hired. Go down to the store and they'll show you your schedule. And it's okay. So I went down to the store, dressed real nice in the event I might have to work, because I'm ready, willing, and able. You know, I don't have to wait till tomorrow. If they need me today, by God, I'll work today, because every hour's worth money. So I went down there, and the older lady, you know, was kind of dry to me. You know, everybody that worked there was like way older than me. I mean, and I'm talking like these old Cadillacs without Cadillacs, they were like in their 70s, I would say. Because I was under 21 at that time. So they had to be their 70s or better. I don't know if they're family members or friends of the owner's mom, whatever, I don't know. But all the women that worked there, there's like 5 or 6 of them, were all, you know, at least in their 70s. To me, that's a very distant number, because I was under 21. It's hard to philosophize, you know, that age. Because you kind of think of, wow, that's a really long time to live. But yet my grandfather lived till he was over 100. So did my uncle on my dad's side. I've seen and known a lot of people that were beyond 100 in my lifetime. But working the floor normally in the schmata business and in fashion, retail, ready to wear, you don't normally see people, I would say, over 35 that manage a store or sell on the main floor. That's just the way it is. And it has been all the years that I've worked in it, all over the different cities, Century City, Beverly Hills, Westwood, you know, everybody is like under 40. So, you know, I'm thinking, well, you know, because Marina Del Rey is kind of the leisure area, a lot of boating, a lot of power boating, very expensive area to live, very calm place. I mean, there's definitely money, you know. So, I don't know. There's all older girls working there. But anyway, I was okay with it, except it created a problem with my job, and I'll tell you that. So anyway, I went down there, and I was very nice and very respectful to the older girl that was, you know, giving me my schedule and all that other kind of stuff, and explaining the rules to me of the store, and explaining me their policy on their pay, because, you know, in the business back then, you got a job, you either worked for payroll or you worked strictly commission, which that means that whatever you sell, you get a certain percentage commission, so you don't get pay. Or they'll have a payroll versus commission, whichever is higher. Or they'll have a payroll plus a small commission. But you have to make so many sales, you have to have so many sales to stay there, and all that kind of stuff, and if not, they give you the axe. So she was explaining to me, you know, the rules of the road there for the shop, and how the pay was done and everything. And so, I knew I could run circles around these old girls because I was young. And I wore my 6-inch Fredericks heels well, okay? And yes, I could skip rope and heels and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I got my schedule and everything, and I actually worked like an hour that day. As I told her, if you need me to go ahead and train, right now I'm free, you know. Just to me, you know, I'd already got there, so I'm, you know, why not use the time, right? I'm already there. And while I'm there, I can make money. You know, I was all about that, you know, dollar bill. So dollar bills are like pennies. They add up and they make Benjamins. And that's a great family to have. A handful of Benjamins would be really awesome. So anyway, I trained for a little bit, you know, and all that kind of thing. But now we didn't do anything on the register. She just pointed out, well, like, here's the register, and you know, when you make a sale, then you know, you bring it up to the counter, all that kind of thing. And I'm like, right, okay. So I'm selling like a bat out of hell. Selling. And the fortunate thing about that place is that I didn't really care for the clothes at all. Lane Bryant is what I was trying to think of. The Lane, you know, Lane Bryant clothes. It was kind of like that, just really, really leisure clothes, okay? Polyester with no style. It all looks like a box or a rectangle. But anyway, you don't have shape, but your clothes do. But anyway, so I did some sales that day, you know, came back the next day, and, you know, I brought it up to the counter, and one of the older girls was behind the counter. They were like little guards for the German army. You know, like each one had a cash register kind of thing. There was like 2 cash registers in the store. There was like one on one side, one on the other, I think. There might have been just one, but I'm thinking there was 2. And it wasn't that big of a store. I mean, this thing was probably 100 by 200 foot, okay? At one story, it was not a big, hairy deal. And it wasn't like stacks and stacks of clothes. It was just like organized little, matching little racks of stuff. And even their window dressing was sorry. It was nothing major. I can dress a window way better than they did. But anyway, which I've done some of that too. But anyway, so I'm selling away every day I go to work there, and I really feel like they all hate me. And I tried to be nice to them, and, you know, tried to get into some neat conversation about puppy dogs, kitty cats, or whatever. Tried to be kind of part of the group there, and they just looked at me like I was speaking another language. They just really did not like me. I did my job, I did it well, and I did better than they did. They were all standing around like telephone poles, and I was like with flames on my heels. Boom, 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 sale after sale after sale, boom, boom, boom. Selling him piece after piece, matching pieces, accessories. Oh my gosh, and you must get this hat. And I mean, I just sold the roof off that place, okay? And they just stood around. Like I was just like against the law or something. I kept smiling. Always kept it cool. Because I knew it was all about those Benjamins. And, you know, I had my little book, and I wrote down all my sales and everything in my little book, so I could keep track. Because you do that, like when you're on commission, you need to keep track of your stuff to make sure it's accurate, and that way you can tell how much you're selling by the hour, because you compete with yourself. And so whatever you sold yesterday, the next day you come in, you want to sell way more than that. Okay, so you're figuring by the hour, am I selling enough? Am I selling enough? You know, because you want to make sure to impress. Because sometimes the owner comes walking in the door, and it's really neat when the owner thanks you for working for them. You know, I've had lots of those, okay? Yes, I have. So, and it's a great feeling, you know, when people really appreciate you doing your job versus people that don't give a darn. And their theory is like, well, if I fire you, 10 more will come along. It's like, oh God. So anyway, my hairdresser, well, he's a barber up in up in Santa Monica. I think it's up on Wilshire. I don't know if he still does hair or not. I know he does artwork now. And I don't know if he's still married to the same girl, but he's a character. He was like the great cousin of Cheech and Chong. I'm just saying, I'm not saying he is, but he was a real character. And this guy was a lowrider. And I mean, if you cut his head off, it looked like it went on a guy's body that was about 7 foot tall. Because his head did not match his body. He was a little short guy. And he had that beautiful lowrider, you know, blue-black hair that was like combed back. Absolutely perfect, every little hair. You know, the old disco scene look. It's like half pompadour and half comb back Elvis thing going on. And then he had the English cut beard with all the cuttings and the shapings. It was really, really neat. And there is a guy walking like towards my car. Almost like he's gonna walk into the bumper. Please do not tell me you're gonna come up and ask me a question while I'm vlogging. So anyway, this guy looks like he's really lost, or maybe he's drunk. What the hell? So anyway, it must be Weirdo Week, I swear. Oh, and he's wearing a Hillfinger shirt. Oh, hell. Oh, my. Okay, so anyway. Oh, God, I guess I'll have to get a beverage here. Beverage, milk. Cheers. I got my half gallon. They don't know how to get downstairs. That's just funny. They haven't a clue. They're gonna walking all over the harbor walk because they're retarded. So anyway, Albert Cornejo, he's still alive. He's in California. He's married to his wife, and I've seen her a few times before, and she is so breathtakingly beautiful that if you aren't gay, you probably wished you were. She's absolutely beautiful woman. And I'm talking like very naturally beautiful. Now, I have a friend of mine in Arkansas and his wife, they call her Barbie, and she's like all plastic. Every bit of her's been operated on or shot up. Albert's wife wasn't like that. She was just absolutely beautiful. Dark-headed lady. Soft-spoken, very classy. Through and through. Just really, really charming lady. And so one day I'm working, and his wife walks into the store that I'm working at. And, you know, I had only been working there like maybe a month, a couple weeks, a month, something. And, she sees me and walks through all these 5 old girls that are up on the front end. Because you stand around in position like you're waiting for a customer. And it's like first one wins. So she like looks at me and is like, well, hello. And it's like this graceful whisper across the room. Right through all these old gals. And they were just totally insulted. And I was like, well, hello, good afternoon, and how are you doing? It's lovely to see you today. Da-da-da, you know, the big deal, you know. And these women just were like eating poo-poo in the corners, okay? And they just couldn't stand it. It's like they were jealous I had a friend. Well, I wasn't real close with this lady. It's met her a few times. Her husband has done my hair repeatedly through my life. Albert's a funny character. He is absolutely hilarious, drunk or sober. Bet he's mostly drunk. And his wife, it's like you wonder how he keeps his wife. This woman is absolutely breathtakingly beautiful, charming, elegant, total class. You know, really a lady, okay? A lady. And so, anyway, I said, so what are you doing here today down in the marina? And she's like, well, I was looking for some things. And I said, well, tell me your favorite color, or, you know. So I start showing her some things, and we're walking around the store just chatting. So about everything I showed her, she liked. And then next thing you know, I'm selling her accessories and a hat and all this other matching stuff. And so next thing you know, she wants to check out because she doesn't like to try anything on. She just wants to buy it. So, so we go up to the counter, and I want to check her out, and they won't let me check her out. They're going to check her out as usual. And I'm like, writing down in my little book, on my little notes. And the sale's like $2,000 or $3,000. It was a lot of money back then. I mean, a huge amount of money. So maybe she was mad at Albert decided to go on a shopping spree. I don't know. But this was no cheap chick, okay? So anyway, went ahead and did that sale, and then walked her out the door, and we chatted a little more, and I told her thank you for dropping by. It was so much fun, and please come back again, and da-da-da-da. Well, all those old Cadillacs without Cadillacs were just like eyeballing me like they were going to throw fireballs and I don't know what. And it's like, I'm just doing my job, I mean, if they had half the friendliness that I did, maybe they could do a better job. But they were all bitter and miserable, and, when you can't see the sun for the clouds. So anyway, I guess another week goes by, and I'm really excited because I know my sales are killer, and somebody's going to be coming from some main office or corporate or something, or the owner, and they're going to be coming down and thanking everybody, and they're going to come up and thank me especially, because that's the way it's done. They love a good salesperson. And when you can sell the roof off that devil and sell it twice, they really love you. That's what it's all about. It's all about those Benjamins. If you aren't worth nothing because you can't sell, you're worthless. But if you can prove more than your pay, where you can tell them and look them in the eye and say, because I can make you money, okay? That's the bottom line. I can make you money. So, anyway, and you have to know it, and you have to believe it, and you have to follow through. Because you don't want anybody else to prove the point like you can. So anyway, I go into work one day, and the woman calls me to the counter, a real bitter face, kind of looking down, and I'm ready to go clock in and everything. And she said, "This is for you," and hands me this envelope. And I'm like, envelope? So I thought that was kind of odd. And she says, "We will no longer be needing you." I was like, pardon me? What's the reason? I mean, are you saying I'm terminated, or? So, she's like, "I can't discuss it, but we will no longer be needing you." So you can bet I had top sales in this joint, and I'm talking top sales over all 5 of those old Cadillacs without Cadillacs put together. Got me? Serious biz. Okay, I wasn't out to put them out of their jobs. I was out to do my job. Okay, and I did my job to the best of my ability, and I took notes. You know what I mean? I had records of all the sales I made, and all the days I worked, and all the hours I worked. I knew what my average sales by the hour was. So, he never had to tell me because I already knew. So, I was pretty upset. Because what did I do? You know? What did I do to make them terminate me? For what reason? I didn't do anything. My sales are better than all the rest of those jamokes. I was the one keeping the doors open there. I was the one that was making my paycheck. I was a brand new employee. I was selling ugly clothes. And I sold lots of them. So, yeah. I mean, it's like selling candy doesn't even taste good. I could do it. Sell about truckloads. I could do it. It's green. Just eat it. Maybe it tastes like crap, but it's green. You'll like it. I mean, I sell a bridge to 5 different people, and they'll all paint it their own favorite colors, and I'll sell it all over again. So anyway, I'm not very happy. Well, I talked to one of the retailers. I said, geez, you know, I went into work today, and I'm not working. I was telling them what's going on, and they're like, well, why don't you talk to the owner? And I'm like, well, because how do you get a hold of the owner? They're like, well, the owner's a guy, and his name is really Jacobson. And you go down Culver City, down Venice Boulevard, and you just keep taking it, and on the left-hand side will be a big kind of seafoam-looking building, like 1 story, and it'll say, I think it was like JPJ Fashions or something like that, and on the side, and the office is there. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, that's the factory, and the office is there, and if you want to find the owner, he'll be there. Just go like before 4. Okay. So the next day, I go and I get on down there, took some buses over there, and I get to the building and everything, and I walk over to the door and walk in, and there's not a lot of people there. And there's a guy there with glasses, kind of Poindexter geeky looking dude. And I introduce myself, and I say, you know, I was working at the Jacobson's Fashions in Villa Marina Shopping Center in Randy Del Rey. And he says, oh, okay, and your name is? And I told him, and he kind of looked funny. And he brought me into his little office there. It was nothing. I mean, it's nothing more than what looks like a CPA office. Just a desk, you know, no personality, just a desk in a small room. And so, you know, we're talking, and I said, you know, I went to work, and the lady handed me an envelope, and then told me I was no longer needed. And I said, why? And she said